A doctrine is being spread about, well, I won't go into it, that we are allowed to have the other nations as wives. I don't know where it came from. I have a rumor, I'm hearing where it came from, but I'm not sure. And I've heard that we also tend to throw stones and hide our hands. No, well, let me assure you, I don't throw stones and hide hands. I throw the stones, make sure they hit someone, and then if I missed, I throw bigger ones. I don't hide my hands. Deuteronomy 7:1, real quick. Just wanted to see. The doctrine is that we can have the other nations as wives with the exception of these. And again, I speak from a place of ignorance in terms of where the doctrine is coming from or who it came from. I'm not sure who it came from or where it's coming from. But regardless, it doesn't matter. I just want to read verse 1, Deuteronomy 7, verse 1 to 3.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites, and the Amorites and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
So, according to the doctrine I'm hearing, is that you cannot marry these 7 nations. The nations outside these 7, you can marry. Read on.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
Verse 3.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Watch this.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
So you cannot give their daughters unto your sons. Go ahead.
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
And you can't take their daughters for your sons. So read verse 1 again.
Verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring...
I'm sorry. So verse 3 makes it clear. The men can be married to the women. Women can be married to the men. These 7 nations. Verse 1 again.
Verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
So here's my question. Now, this doctrine seems to me like a doctrine that's local. A doctrine that comes from camps or a camp that doesn't travel. So my question to this doctrine is, where are these nations today? That's my question. Where are they today? So that way we all know up here who and who not to give our sons and daughters to. So I need a historical document or books that substantiate where these 7 nations are today in Africa, because this goes all over Africa. So I'm just curious as to where these nations are today so we can avoid breaking the law of verse 3. Because if it is true that we can marry the nations outside of this one, that means it's no wrong when you see a sister with an Edomite man or a brother with an Edomite woman, which therefore means that when you go out in the street, there's no way you can go out in the street and curse out the so-called white man, Esau, and say he's the devil when you're laying in bed with one. It doesn't make sense. Either God condones hypocrisy or this is a lust doctrine. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. It can be both. So I need to know, this is my question for the doctrine. Who are these 7 nations today? And is it scriptural for me to go on the street, curse out Esau to his face, and acknowledge all the evil he's doing to our people today, and teach it? He's killing Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Akai Gurley, all these different people being killed by him, us being killed by this nation. The Karens that call the cops on us left and right. The woman that had Emmett Till killed, that got away with it. The woman that had Rosewood, Florida burned down to the ground. We can marry the daughters of these people. We can marry the sons of these people and go out on the street and be con. I am very confused. I'm not even angry. I'm just confused. Is it biblically scriptural for me to go out on the street, curse out Esau, curse out Moab, and then come home to one? Doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't know. But that's just my follow-up question. But the first question I want to know the most, we know who Elam is. We know who Edom is. We know who Edom is. We know who Moab is. We know who Ammon is. We know who Aram, the Syrians are. We know who the Assyrians are. We know who the Persians are today, Iranians, Iraqis. But I need to know who these 7 nations are today, so that I can teach further. So my understanding can be increased to know. Okay, brothers and sisters, this nation in Africa is Girgashites. This group is the Hittites. This group is the Jebusites. This group is the Amorites. Don't just make it vague. That's Christianity. Oh well, we're all Gentiles. That's an ambiguous doctrine. Girgashites, Amorites. I need to know who they are today, so we go on the street, we can blast them in the street. What are you? I'm a so-and-so. Oh, you're a Girgashite. Don't just say Africans, because that ain't going to work. Because you got Israelites called Africans in Africa. So don't come with that. Oh, it's Africans. No, Africa has many nations. You got Edomites called Africans too. So that answer's not going to suffice for me. Those are Africans. Nah, got to be a bit more detailed. You know, we do history classes here. Got to be a bit more detailed with that doctrine. A bit, but I'm just, again, none of the Israelite groups, they gain a lot of views and they thrive on a lot of views of attacking Esau, making Esau women cry. Oh, Edomite woman cries. Edomite man licks my boot, but you're married to his daughter. I don't understand. I'm confused. I am flabbergasted.
Hey, you could have them as concubines, man.
Yeah, give me that law too, please. Give me that law
You
also.
could have them
concubine.
as concubine.
Give me that law, please, about concubines.
But hey, listen, right? What's the reason why Moses give us the name of these nations right here? What's the reason? The reason is in the middle of is the verse that we just read. It says, when you go into the land. Because
what you go to possess.
Exactly, which you go to possess. Letting you know he's speaking about the people that was living in that land. Now, if he was going to another land, he would have been like, okay, but that's the people that was in the land. So he said, listen, that's why he mentioned them by name. You understand? Because those were the people living in that land. But when we go to other lands, it's people living in other lands, and we don't supposed to make marriages with them neither. But the reason why he made specific on those nations, because they were in the land.
And not just them. I'm gonna get them. It wasn't just them in the land. It wasn't just those 7 in the land. Because remember, we shared land with Edom. Edom and Judah were next door neighbors. Not even Judah. Edom and someone else. Moab and Judah were neighbors. These are our neighbors. But I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But give me Deuteronomy 21 verse 10.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies.
Goes forth to what?
To war against thine enemies.
To what?
To war against thine enemies.
Okay, this is not a spiritual war either. This is literal war, fighting them. Go ahead.
And the Lord thy God have delivered them into thine hand.
And he does what?
And the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands.
Question. Are the nations in our hands today? Are we at war with the nations right now physically? Oh, okay. Read on. Read verse 10 again.
When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife.
Right, go ahead.
Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails.
I just try. Now, we all know full well, you're not going to tell no heathen to shape her head and pare her nails. This is a woman that was cast. As a matter of fact, read the bottom of verse 10 again.
Verse 10.
And thou
hast taken them captive.
Do we have our nations captive today?
Nope.
Read verse 11 again, please.
And seest among the captives.
Among the what?
The captives.
The what?
The captives.
I asked the question again. Do we have nations in captivity right now? Okay, read on.
A beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her.
She said what?
And she shall put the raiment of her captivity.
Of her what?
Of her captivity.
Of her what?
Her captivity.
Let me ask the question again. Do we have nations in captivity? No. Okay, go ahead.
From off her. And and shall remain in thine house, and shall bewail her father and her mother a full month.
Stop. Why does she, don't call out. Why is she bewailing her father and mother a full month? I know you know, Jonah. I know you know. I want some new hands. I know you know too. I want new hands. Why? We read it earlier. Why is she bewailing her father and mother? Why is she allowed to bewail her mother and father a full month? Yes. Let's see who got it.
Shalom, Deacon. Most
Shalom.
High
Most High,
Christ
bless.
Is it verse 10?
Okay, what does it say?
It says, when thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands. Meaning, he destroyed basically her family. All the
Thank
people she
you.
knows.
We killed her parents. They're dead. That's the point. They're dead. We killed them. So she was taken captive. Now, you may ask yourself, well, doesn't that contradict Deuteronomy 7:1? No, it does not. You know why it doesn't contradict it? Because Israel would have taken them captive anyway. Moses had laws set in place to keep Israel in order, even when it was wrong. Divorce, it's not right, but it's a law that establishes it. This goes into when Israel went to war. The men were away from the Israelite women. Remember, we're at war. The men are away for a while. They're away from Israelite women for what? We didn't bring our women with us. So the men, these are single men going to war, fighting, testosterone crazy. They took these women so the Lord said, listen, if you see these women, I got to put a law in place. Because if I don't put the law in place, they're going to do it regardless. So I'm going to put laws in place so when they do this, what they have to do in order to take her as a wife. Israel was not supposed to be doing this, but there were laws put in place so that it can regulate Israel, keep them in order. Likewise, Israel was not supposed to be divorcing their wives, but there were laws put in place to what? Allow them to do what? Divorce their wives when they weren't supposed to. Give me Exodus 22, please. Another example of what a law is written but should not be taking place in the first place. Every law is not a law to condone actions. These are laws to regulate the evil already in Israel. That's what it is. I'm going to give you two. This one and another one. You know, I want Exodus about the father.
Yep.
Brought this out weeks ago. Go ahead.
Chapter 22, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
So this law is written here. But guess what? Is this supposed to happen? No. This should not be going on. He's supposed to go to the father. This man is a seducer. He seduced the daughter into laying with him against the parent's authority. So it's telling you, well, if a man goes and does this evil, he has to pay the father a dowry. Now, when you read the next verse, the father has the right to either accept this wickedness of this boy from laying with his daughter, or he can refuse this in the following verse. These are not laws that condone this evil. These are laws that are set in place when evil takes place, when wrong is being done. So when Israel went to war, and these nations, and the Lord delivered these nations into our hands, not these verse the 7 nations, but other nations outside of them, he said, listen, you're going to take them regardless. But when you do, here's the law behind it. Ain't no man in this captivity going to tell me that's concubine unless he killed her parents and she's his captive. You're not using that law in captivity. Nigga, you the concubine. You captive. You're in your captive raiment. This is captive raiment. We're concubines. How the hell you a concubine? Your ass is a slave. It's a stupid asinine doctrine, man. It's stupid.
Hey, Dick. I'll tell you what kind of law that is. That law, them laws you reading, them laws is laws for niggas.
Yeah.
Evil niggas.
Childproof laws.
Nigga laws. Because some brothers ain't right. Some brothers always want to do things the wrong way. So Moses said, you know what? Let me set up for these laws for these evil niggas.
Now, watch this.
Okay.
Watch what you say. Watch this. Because they're going to say, well, was David an evil nigga? Because David had concubines. Was Solomon an evil nigga? Because Solomon had concubines. But you got to think like one. Because they're going to come that direction. Remember. When you read Exodus, give me Exodus real quick, 20. Our forefathers were allowed to do these things despite the Lord not agreeing with it. The Lord did not agree with divorce, but there was a law for divorce. The Lord did not agree with the man taking a woman and seducing her husband and taking her as a wife, seducing the daughter and taking her as a wife, but the father's order. But there was a law in place for that.
Hey, the law on divorce was set up because some people just ain't right.
Right.
Some
Matter of fact, let that
people
go.
evil as
Matthew
hell.
19. Matthew 19.
Some people is evil as hell, man. They ain't right. That's why Moses said, listen, I can't fix this marriage. The woman is a demon or the husband dealing evil. Listen, you want to put her away, put her away. You understand? So that's what it is because of niggas. Because some of you brothers, some of you sisters, you evil as hell, and and the men couldn't deal with it. So Moses said, "Yo, get rid of her." If that's why Moses did that.
Matthew 19, read verse 3.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
Now, stop. What's the answer to that question, y'all? Yes or no? Yes, it is. It is lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause. Hold that. Get Deuteronomy 24:1. See? Y'all see? Y'all say no. It is not, but the law don't say that.
Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. When a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes,
That she come to pass after a while that he doesn't like her no more. Go ahead.
because he have found some uncleanness in her.
Stop. What does some uncleanness translate to in the New Testament? Thank you. Every cause. Whatever he don't, oh man, her hair, she cut her hair, divorce.
She look at me
That's
wrong.
that's your pinky toe? Look like that? Divorce.
Why you look at me like that?
Divorce.
Too much salt in the rice?
Divorce. What's this? This is liquor? Divorce. That's how Israel was. For every cause. Whatever they saw in their mind, they felt was wrong in a woman, I don't want to be with her no more. That's law. So let's go back to Matthew 19 and let's read it again.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him.
Stop. What does tempting mean? Tempting, come on. Tempting, another word for tempting. Trying them, another one. Good, another one. More modern word. What? Thank you. Testing him. Because they knew a man could do that. But they're going to see what the Messiah says regarding it. Read again.
The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
Is it wrong to divorce your wife for some uncleanness in her? If you don't find favor in his eyes anymore? Is it lawful? Go ahead. Meaning, is it right? Go ahead.
And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that which made them at the beginning, made them male and female?
So where did Christ take them? Took them to before Moses. Took them to Adam and Eve. He said, well, no, let's not do it Moses. Let's go before Moses. Go ahead.
And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh.
Genesis 2:24. Go ahead.
Wherefore, they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
Therefore, God has joined together. Let no man put asunder, meaning what? Put her away for every cause. Because he's mentioning what took place with Adam and his wife. That was the first wedding. That was the first wedding, really. Go ahead. Watch this.
They say unto him, why did Moses then give a writing of divorcement?
why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? So if what God is joined together, no man can put asunder, why is man able by the law to put it asunder? They're being slick. So Christ said, what God joined together, no man can put asunder. Pharisees say, well, if that's the case, how come man can put it asunder according to the law of Moses? Read the next verse.
He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives.
And have concubines too. And marry against the parents' orders, if they so chose. And marry or go around the parents and take their daughter and defile her. That's law too. Nigga law. That's what it is. Nigga regulation laws, I call them. Nigga regulation laws. That's what it is. Because if we don't put the law in place, you would do it regardless.
Hey, like what they be doing inside here, Deacon Iton.
Yeah, right. Until the backdoor marriage.
Right.
Same thing.
Yep, that's what they do. They go
Same
behind our
thing.
back, sneak around, and get, oh, we did this last week, and we got to force them to get married.
Yep.
You know?
Read on.
But from the beginning,
Wait,
it was
stop. He said, but from the beginning, he said, Moses allowed you because of the evil in you. The Lord allowed Moses to put laws up because Israel was wicked. Read on.
But from the beginning,
But before Moses, go ahead,
it was not so.
there was no divorce. There was never divorce before Moses. Go ahead.
And I say unto you,
And here's my law. Now here's another law that's not in Moses. Go ahead.
whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication,
Except she gets defiled. Go ahead.
and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her, which is put away, doth commit adultery.
Where is that in the law? In Moses. Where is it? Anyone know where it is? It's nowhere. That's where it is. Christ said so. Now it's law. You get it? Like he said, one wife. That's law now. You understand? It's very, very simple. But when you're lust-filled and you try to be slick and you see nations you like and you can't control your own women, so you try to find alternatives. Because this doctrine, I'm guaranteed this doctrine comes from camps or a camp where their women are not in order. I guarantee you. Right. I guarantee you the wives that walk around with looking like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, fingernails as long as my Bible, where they can't wipe nothing properly. I guarantee you that's where it's coming from. That's why you don't hear no marriage classes from these camps. You don't hear it because their wives are out doing what they want to do. When you can't handle this like woman, you must go and find alternatives to get away from her by law. Give me Nehemiah now. When Deacon Malachi put this out last week.
Or they could go get a prostitute.
Right, or get a prostitute. Right. Let me get Nehemiah. Nehemiah? No, I want Nehemiah first. Nehemiah. No, I want Ezra first. It's the same thing, really. Because Ezra and Nehemiah are at the same time. Give me Ezra first. I'm sidebarring, man. I'm cutting to my class, but it's bothering me. Ezra 9. Ezra real quick. And I'm gonna go do a class on it, just in case someone try to come with some way to cut the class. I did this now. This is a preface. This is a prologue. Be patient. I'm gonna deal with that doctrine another time. I have other plans. But for now, I'm just gonna just tap it real quick. Ezra. Ezra 9. Read Ezra 9. Ezra 9. Yes, and read verse 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves.
Notice he mentions the same nations in Deuteronomy 7 and verse 1. Then he adds 3 more to the mix. Ammon, Moab, and Egyptians. That's not Deuteronomy 7. Read on. That's not Deuteronomy 7 at all. Read on.
For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons,
Meaning they gave, so their sons are married to their daughters. Go ahead.
so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in this trespass.
In this what?
In this trespass.
In this what?
Trespass.
Trespass. Marrying Ammonites, Moabites, and Egyptians we've been chief. The princes are chief in this trespass. So he adds 3 more. Ammon and Moab and Egyptians, marrying them is a trespass. So what about Joseph? He was married to an Egyptian woman. What about Abraham? He was married to an Egyptian woman. I'm going to say it again. The forefather allowed things to go on when our fathers did certain things. He gave it a pass. He pardoned it. But it was not to be done. It was not to be done. Joseph married an Egyptian because Joseph was surrounded by Egyptians. His people were not in the land. His brothers sold him into slavery. He spent years over there. So the Lord let that ride. Moses married an Ethiopian woman. He was away from his people for 40 years. The Lord gave him the pardon. Let him ride. Let that ride. Abraham's wife, out of desperation, barren, said, listen, please take her and use her as a surrogate and bring me a child. And the Lord let it happen. What happened to that child, though? He was cast off. Then Abraham took another wife, which more than likely was a heathen, and those children were cast off. So what I'm showing you is now they're going to say, what about Ruth? Ruth was a business transaction. She was part of the inheritance of land, but those men were wrong for marrying her. Because during that time in Judges, Ruth takes time in Judges. And Israel did whatever they wanted to do at that time, including marrying heathen women. But I'm going to touch on that in my class. I'm going to touch all these instances later on in more detail. Read First Ezra 8:70. So Ezra 9, we're going to read it in more detail again in First Ezra 8:70. Remember, they were chief in this trespass, marrying their daughters and taking their daughters for their sons.
First Ezra chapter 8, verse 70.
Yes.
For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land.
Hold on.
Verse,
Let me get there with you. I'm sorry.
I think 69.
Yeah, start from 69. Yes, 69 first. Thank you.
Verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, the Levites, have not put away from them the strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites.
Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. Now, this is a repeat of Ezra 9:1. But this gives you more nations. It says Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. Go ahead.
For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
Of this what?
Iniquity.
What?
Iniquity.
Trespass. Iniquity, trespass is iniquity to be with these nations outside those 7. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna address it. You say something, D. Malachi?
Yeah, the trespass is not just worshiping idols. The trespass is literally having sex with heathen women. That's what it's saying here.
Right.
Okay, it's not just going worshiping the idol of the heathen woman, it's dealing with them.
Right, read 69 again. It's gonna say it. Read 69 again.
Verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land.
They have not put away from them these heathens. Go ahead.
Nor the pollutions of the Gentiles.
Neither had to put away their idols. It's both. Their gods and them is trespass. Because these nations come with their own gods.
They say Solomon's sin was worshiping the idol, was not dealing with the heathen woman. That's what you hear they say, but it's telling you exactly. Listen, the sin was his boat. You understand? His boat.
See something real quick. Ezra, 1 second. Ezra's 10:1. Ezra 10:1.
Ezra chapter 10, verse 1. Now when Ezra had prayed, and when he had confessed, weeping and casting himself down before the house of God, there assembled unto him out of Israel a very great congregation of men and women and children, for the people wept very sore.
2.
And Shechaniah, the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Ezra, we have trespassed against our God, and have taken strange wives of the people of the land. Yet now there is hope in Israel concerning this thing.
3.
Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God, to put away all the wives, and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my Lord, and of those that tremble at the commandment of our God, and let it be done according to the law.
So they admitted that they were in trespass marrying these heathen women. But the part I want to do is, it says the congregation of men and women. Meaning what? Not only were the men marrying heathen wives, the women had what? Heathen husbands too. Because that falls behind it. There's no way you're going to have Israelite men marrying strange wives and women ain't falling behind it. They were doing the same thing. And their children were definitely heathens. Because you are what your father is. So them kids had to go too. So the men and women wept sore. Had to put away their strange husbands too. Because if you're condoning, it's okay for us to marry strange women, and you're condoning it's okay for women to marry strange men. There's no way around that.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.